This conference will now be recorded.
Board of Commissioners measures notice the regular meeting to be held Wednesday, April 27, 2022, 186 Cross Road, Tyngsborough, Mass. At Tyngsborough, meeting room 5:30. Let's just start with a roll call vote.
Seth Brown.
Donald Lanfront.
Elizabeth Dean.
Okay, and we believe Robert's on his way, but we'll get going on a meeting. Visitors' comments is number 2 on our item. There are no visitors now. On to number 3, accept the minutes for the meeting of March 30th, regular meeting. Has everybody had time to review the minutes?
Well, even though I was absent at that meeting, I'll make a motion because that's a little. Sure. And I'll just second it.
Motion to accept the regular meeting minutes from March 30th.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the minutes of March 30th,
And I'll second that.
2022. And the second, all in favor? All opposed? 3-0 vote. Next on the agenda, hi Robert. Next on the agenda is to accept the minutes of April 7th, 2022. Has everybody had a chance to review?
I'll make that motion. To accept the April 7th. No,
Yeah, April 2nd. That was that special meeting we had.
April 7th.
It mentioned when we opened up the meeting, that John told us there wasn't being one of the meeting. Everybody had a chance to review the minutes of April 2nd. You open up, you open running?
Yep. April
7th.
7th.
So Brian made the motion.
Okay, we have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, we voted on a second to the minutes of April 7th, 2022. All in favor? Opposed, 4-0. Accounts report, March 31st, 2022. The next agenda item. Wonderful.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions or issues on the account report?
Just, is this the last month of the fiscal year?
Final fiscal year.
So I'm just looking at ordinary maintenance, labor, building supplies, contract costs, those all things that are taken. Am I right? If I look at that,
Yes, but those are the things that the state allows us to overrun the maintenance stuff.
What account number was it, Pat?
Top of the second page.
uh, 4410, 4420, 4430.
You all set with that question, Don? You know, some of them are sent this way, this way, so
That's the way they're, yeah, to get them to fit, and that's the way they're sent to me.
in essence, I can send it without having to go all together.
Well, if I have this print this way, then I'm gonna have to shrink it down, and then I don't know if you can read it. Try it.
I don't know if that's good or bad. But, so to get back to that. So they allow you to go over on those, and it's just gonna come out of the budget.
It just obviously reduced down our operating reserves.
Oh, it comes out of operating reserve?
Yeah, because now our reserves will be reduced because we didn't budget enough in those line items.
Then it's acceptable practice with the HED.
Any other questions? If there's no questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve on our approach.
Motion approved.
Accountant's report, March 31st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we vote on a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 0. The next thing is accounts payable and payroll, March 31st.
Shuts up. Yeah, I just got lost. Because it only does it on something.
Whatever I need, it won't grab it. Big screen.
And if you want, Bob gets paper too.
What are we looking at?
Payables and payroll.
Yeah. Well, I've already seen it.
On page 10 of 48, right? My computer. On page 10 of number 48. On the computer. Oh, you got page 10.
Page 10 on the computer.
Yes, sure. We want it on it. 21, 23.
On page 21, you're still on the financials.
That's all I'm asking. The good guy could just pick up. And ask him. There's something to say it. All right, I got LHA tenants account receivable. 41.
So
Okay, farm payroll. And payables.
That's page 22.
21 and 22 is payables.
Any question on page 21, 22? Check summary report from the Brian Frank.
make a motion to approve accounts payable for March 31st, 2022.
Seconded.
We have a motion, a second to accept accounts payable report 3/1/2022. All in favor? All opposed? The next thing, expense fund account.
Make a motion to approve the expansion fund account March 31st, 2022.
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to accept the expense fund accounting report March 31st, 2022. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Next thing, the agenda is correspondence. First thing on the correspondence is Merrimack Valley housing report. Everybody had a chance to read it? I find it's interesting how to start to slow down and wait for interest rates to creep up again all of a sudden. And the poor people that overpaid it, you do it. My opinion, far from a banker. Okay, so everybody has had a chance to read it and obtain a motion to accept correspondence. There's only one correspondent.
Motion to accept the Merrimack Valley April housing report.
Second.
A motion to accept Merrimack Valley housing report. On favor? All opposed? 3-0. Next thing we have the executive director's report. Like you put that, I think. Guys took off. How's that watch? I just put like this. You want- Okay. Number one on is vacancies.
We're doing executive directors.
What's that?
Executive directors.
Right. And the number one item is vacancies.
So we have the 4 vacancies that the guys are working on. One of them is done. And then the other 3 they're working on. One of them is the one that we took offline for the meal and shower. They have gutted the bathroom and pulled the tub out. We're just waiting for the contractor to come in.
What are contractors?
Hmm?
What are contractors?
It's LeBrec Family Construction.
Who's the plumber?
He's doing LeBrec's doing everything. He's done a bunch of housing authorities, so it's highly recommended by our.
Any questions on the vacancies? Now we'll go to number 2. It doesn't like this thing. The next thing is work orders.
I think the guys are doing a great job keeping up with them as well as doing everything else. Now they're gonna start working on outside stuff. They're gonna try and do, a couple of days a week outside and the rest inside, just to kind of flip flop back and forth to get everything done.
That's good. I don't need to peddling.
The budget has been submitted to DHCD. We're just waiting for their approval. The 2 capital improvement projects that got voted on to accept the low bidder at the last meeting. DHCD has finalized their approval of the paperwork. I'm just waiting to set up pre-construction meetings to get them going. The next thing was that tenant receivable that we spoke about at the last meeting. I did speak with the attorney, as was requested. Her basic comment is she's not a collection agency, and now that they're not a tenant, she can't issue like any 14-day notices to quit. It was not an original court judgment for them to pay. So like she said, we can try and go after it, which I have done that. They did pay for 1 year after moving out. But her response was too, is that it's a small amount. Collection agencies are going to keep anywhere from 25 to 50% of the amount. We could do the small claims court route. There's the $50 filing fee, and then my time to go to court to collect the money. So it's, what we want to do.
Any questions on that issue?
I mean, it is coming up under unfinished business, because it wasn't voted on at the last meeting.
So basically, aside from being smart with the response, she basically said we could go to the small claims court, right?
Yeah, or the collection
Or the
agency,
collection
right?
agency.
So they were paying it when they were tenants, and then a year after they moved out, they did continue making payments, and then it was the fight to get the money.
How many years have been since the tenants have left?
Well, they paid for a year, and now it's been sitting for a year, so 2 years.
So we should have probably did something 2 years ago.
Well, they were paying for a year after they moved out. So then they stopped paying, and now I brought it to the board because it was after I was still trying to collect it from them.
So with the stop payment, was that going to go?
Yeah, because it would have been last year. But they weren't working.
The last year, but what?
They weren't working.
So, but on a calendar year, once 2 years ago, was it January 1 or was it our fiscal year?
It was actually June, because they moved out in June.
Okay, so if it's just June, it'd be 3 years?
So this June would be 2 years. They moved out in June of 2020. And continue to pay up through June of 21.
Were there rent notices sent to these people?
Yeah, they got a statement every month, especially after their monthly payment was posted.
You guys want to do it?
I mean, I guess it's a small amount, right, but just doesn't sit well. I mean, we agree to pay, and then all of a sudden they don't pay.
Got what, Brian?
So I can't get in my computer.
Did you buy
No,
it?
mine is touch as helping it.
No, shouldn't have.
Seth, do you have any comments, Riley?
No, not really. I mean, like I said, it's a small amount. So I don't think it'd really be worth it. That's my only thought on it.
Bob?
I feel the same way. I mean, the amount of time you're gonna lose all the money that you're gonna lose over half of it, plus her time out too. So really, you're not gonna gain anything.
Right.
You're gonna gain what, maybe $600?
You know, I agree, but I think we need a better system.
But we
Just
gotta-
sitting on a statement.
On the flip
I
side,
think the point is to be alerted that there's a tenant that's moved. We need to very well know, might look at it and say it's day to day, but at the end of the day, if we have to make a decision, it's not day to day.
Well, what's the direction on it anyway? I'm catching up on this now. I said that they moved out for a year, but they were still paying,
They've been gone, it'll be 2 years in June.
and they're paid for a year
They paid a year after moving out.
after moving out. So the apartment was empty for a whole year,
Well, no, there was new people that went into the apartment. They were just paying the back.
all the backlog.
so if we, what are we doing to give him that?
Well, what happens is when it gets written off, there is a note in their file. So if they ever apply to get into housing again, they have to pay that money back
So,
in order to get in, back in.
so the terminology would be to write off the debt, is that?
Yeah, it's under the unfinished business because we were to vote on it the last time and everybody wanted me to go and talk with the attorney.
But how much does that debt cover? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months?
It was unreported income. So it went back.
Over $1,300? How much?
So they're saying
$600?
that, I get it, they were paying the rent, the new job, they didn't report the.
It was, well, I thought she did it, not, well, no, I thought he did it, you know, the wife and the husband point fingers as to who reported the income. Well, you saw them all the time, you know, going to work. Well, it's not my job to follow them around. I mean, it's their job to report their income.
Is it, we look at fiscal year 2020? Is that when the money was? So I'm trying to figure out the motion. So motion should be to give the debt for fiscal year 2020, the amount of $1,305. Is that right? That's the correct motion?
I don't even think we have to put a year, because now when it gets written off, it's going in this year, which would be in our 23 budget. Because we've already closed out 22, those are the final statements.
I mean, I think, I mean, if we're just gonna say, let it go, we need a policy to say, we need to know about, I mean, if I want to know about more, that's the board out there want. But I'd like a heads up. We're gonna be faced with this. And you're going on 2 years, a long time, you know what I mean?
Well, we can request that at the end of every fiscal year, right? Anybody, any outstanding debt? Fiscal year. Right? That will be part of that fiscal year.
Or even 3 months.
And we should address that, right?
If somebody leaves for 3 months or 2 months, let us know. And again, it's day to day. We're gonna be the ones that take the money. And they say, no, you already left it, you know, the tax bill. You know what I mean? I mean, I'll agree to pay it. If we don't have a policy on it, then I'll agree to pay it, that we have a policy that of what the board members should be given a heads up that there's outstanding debt or anything to do with finances, whether somebody damaged the wall and they won't pay, whatever the case may be. That would be my suggestion. I mean,
So you want, do you want to wait to do this till we get the policy, or do you want to?
correct. So, yeah, I mean, I'm game for, without a policy, they have no guidelines.
What type of policy are you trying to originate?
So if there's somebody that isn't paying that, that's owed money, if we brought up the date, bought it, the like was saying, there's tenant or tenant that moves, they owe us money, I don't want me to be equitable.
Okay, but I live there.
Yeah,
Every month, my payment is made to my bank,
yeah,
to housing authority. Okay? Some people pay by check each month. Okay? There is a status of who paid and who didn't pay, I'm sure. After a certain amount of time during the month. So you know who did pay, who didn't pay.
Well, active tenants would get a 14-day notice to quit.
But this wasn't the case.
This was back rent for unreported income. So a
Right.
repayment
which
agreement
means
was
what?
signed.
Backward for unreported income.
So their rent is based on their income. So the tenant didn't report a new job. So it's considered what you call unreported income. It was discovered at the time of doing recertification when a W-2 was turned in.
Okay.
So a repayment agreement was set up because of course they couldn't come up with the amount of money that they owed for back rent, where they paid their monthly rent in addition to extra money that goes towards the back rent.
Well, seeing where you have 14 days after our rent becomes due, okay? I would suggest that at the commissioners meeting that month, the executive director could report all open payments at that time. That month or the month later. But that would give you fast recognition of when you'd have a notice right there. I mean, we're battling 2 years later.
But see, current tenants get the 14-day notice, so if they don't pay up, then it gets forwarded to the attorney, and then she files papers to go to court. These were tenants that moved out with the balance still owed for the back rent.
Oh, so why didn't they
But it
get,
actually-
why didn't they prove it under the yoke right then and there?
It wasn't, I guess technically it is back rent, but it's not that they didn't pay their rent every month. They paid their
They
rent.
paid their
They
rent
just didn't
every month.
report some income, and then, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, that's more legal than it is. Well,
Maybe, you know,
because
so maybe they were.
you know, it's an IRS thing, so.
I mean, it could have been done like a Fox and so, I mean, that being said, knowing what's going on now, it's a little clearer to me. Just move forward. Just,
Okay, so we have a motion to let it off, we have a second.
yeah. So, did you get the wording that I gave you? Is that correct? That's good enough? That's good.
Just to write it off.
No.
No, we come up with a policy.
No, well, I said it. We can do that separate.
Well, we already have a bad debt policy,
Okay,
which is to
All right,
pursue it for a year.
so let's review that.
so we could shoot it for a year and nothing came, but it was 2 years.
Yeah, but they paid it for a year. And then I was trying to pursue it further. And they weren't budging.
Yeah, all right, so
So my motion was to bring up the bet in fiscal year 2020. You don't need to.
No, because it's gonna get written off now, which we're in 23.
So my motion to write off the debt in the amount of $1,305 fiscal year 2020. No, all right, go ahead, I'm sorry.
All right, any other comments tonight? That's a motion from you?
No, second that.
Okay. We have a motion to excuse the debt 21, 22. Or is it 2021?
No, he just did the motion to write off that amount in fiscal 2020.
Do we have a motion, a second?
Second.
I'm going to say, all in favor? All opposed, like opposed? The vote goes 3-1.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I can, on the same, not the subject, but the response on the subject, I'm taken back by the comment from the attorney, if you work for us, which is not a collection agency. I mean, we can't have, that's what she's there for, is to ask us the question.
That's the
And
problem.
we get, smarts, remarks back.
Exactly, we can make those remarks.
I think that's unprofessional, and I think we should send a letter to her boss and let her know that, let their boss, her boss know that. That's just unprofessional.
Or maybe on that same note, ask when we speak to an attorney, we want to invite what they said. And as a board member, go back and say, hey, on this date is what you recommend.
She will never put anything.
Then now I'll never vote on it.
So I think we need somebody else. That's what I think. It's just that she's totally unprofessional, because this is not the first time this has happened. Since I've only been on the board a few years, so I just. I think that's what she's there for, to answer questions. She doesn't have to be, smug and say, I'm not a collection agency.
Right, they just,
With
no, no, it's not.
The question,
No, it's
right,
not.
the question was, could we do this, could we do that? That's all. That was the question. Wasn't, we didn't ask her to go collect money. Yeah, I just think that's a total unprofessional response coming out of DHCD, and her boss should know.
It could be the next time that happens, we get the attorney that we sat with, bring them in, and we bring it up in front of them, how do we do it? We don't want classes, we want to know what's the invite.
Maybe we ask our ethics. We all needed ethics training. She doesn't? You know what I mean?
Probably one that came out, Sarah. When you're
No,
talking about
the gentleman who said we had hours left.
Martin Rooney.
Yes. He was
Yeah, he was
authorized,
the one that was hired by DHC.
he was authorized to give us ethics training so many hours.
Mhm.
So maybe we ask him, how do we handle this?
Right.
Because
I mean, the issues like this, all the cuts should be laid on the table. Not somebody playing with the pinnacle deck and somebody playing with
I'm not talking about that itself, I'm talking about the response to the questions. Make the questions pretty simple. What's the best way, can we do this? Should we, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just, that's all we were looking for, we were looking for her. I'm like, right?
And again, if it comes up to us, I agree with the same line, come up with, we can figure that person out. Okay, so it's our decision. I can vote no decision, it was fine, I'm fine with the decision. What do you advise? And let the formal tax come out.
Right.
All right, so anyways, that was voted on. We'll probably review the policy in the next meeting.
Policy.
Yeah. And even though we have it, don't have it, we should look at it.
Thank you for shutting up.
It's just, is that what it's doing?
The screen's just probably going into what, screensaver mode, right?
But how do I get it back?
We just have to-
You must be all that.
Just about it.
The
No, it's on the side.
I guess we're still working on the fire report, I guess is where we're at still.
Mhm.
Thank you.
So we had it was a small candle fire, didn't do any damage except just set the fire alarms off. The tenant next door and put it out with a fire extinguisher. I wasn't made too much aware of it. No one made that big of a deal about it. I mean, John did text me about it. And then I did get a call from the deputy chief because there was an issue here with the hallway doors that are on the magnetic release. The alarms went off. They didn't really shut. We had to come in and figure that out and order new whatever magnetic things that release. The big one was, of course, the car accident into the office building.
Back to the small camera fire. When you said that John Pelletier was he on duty?
Not even sure if he was on duty. He just happened to send me a text.
And what did he say on the text?
There was a small family fire and that I would be hearing from the deputy.
So the alarms are,
But then the hallway doors, I guess, are supposed to release and close.
The release.
so my question is, smoke alarms go off of fire alarms?
The smoke alarms.
The smoke alarms are probably AC smokes to the apartment zone, correct?
No, it went to the panel because it called the fire department.
So what do we have, what's in the units for the license? Heat detectors?
There's heat detectors and then there's the, battery AC.
Are they what, they're not light, right?
Heat detectors.
So one of them went off?
I mean, there was a lot of smoke from what I heard because supposedly they went up.
So there must have been a smoke detector lighted. Because heat detectors, got pretty good fire over there.
I didn't think they were wired here, but maybe the ones here are and it's over their place, they're not wired.
But everybody evacuate when they set up the whole building?
And set off the whole building, and I found out afterwards that some stayed in their apartment.
Okay, do we have a yearly test on evacuation?
Not on evacuation, they come and test the alarms.
But we should probably find out from DHCD. I know in the college, once a year it's tested. Everybody.
Yeah, that would be with the fire, like you're in school. with the fire.
Right, but they come unannounced. I mean, you want to, it's elderly housing, really. You want to do it at 1 o'clock in the morning, but I mean, you do it at night, so everybody comes. They do this, I didn't make it, they told you have to come out, you never know. Maybe if you could find out from other housing authorities, what they do for their yearly testing. For evacuation. There's supposed to be evacuation, there's supposed to be a place identified for everybody. Right, so you know everybody's comfortable. That's the.
I was just thinking about Drake, but there's only basically 2 buildings, so everything's connected.
They're super friendly, it's individual buildings.
Yeah. So we're also the fire department anyway. What are they planning on?
Have you talked to the fire chief? What was going on?
Pat called me just to say that there was just the issue with the doors.
So maybe we just ask him, how do we do this, make sure, what should we do to make sure that everyone evacuates from that? Right, just a thought.
All right, so yeah, the other one was the car accident into the building. Which right now we're just waiting, the contractor was out the other day to do all of his assessment to report back to the insurance company, his cost to fix that. So, we're at a standstill right now.
Okay.
Any damage inside the building, structural damage?
There,
I'm assuming it's by the office, right?
yeah,
No damage inside.
yeah, there's damage inside, that's where the bulk of the damage is. So, the outside doesn't look as bad as the inside, which, yep,
Computers and stuff get damaged.
not computers, we had 2 cabinets and Diane's desk. Diane's desk got hit in one of the cabinets. And then, of course, when the cabinets moved, it tore the floor. We should get a new floor.
This accident happened on a Friday,
Friday night,
and you weren't made aware of it till when?
Easter Sunday morning.
And when did you look at it?
When did I look at it? I looked at it on Tuesday, but Diane was there on Easter Sunday morning because she doesn't do Easter, so she went over to the office for it. I had a house full of people.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I've been in management in house and looked at customers and everything else. Somebody mentioned to me that happened, I would get Tuesday morning, 6:20 a.m. And the debris from the vehicle was still laying there as well as the sign, which was in the way of the walkway. Somebody could have got walk. Somebody, whether it be you or the maintenance guy, should have cleaned it up and put caution tape or whatever on. We talked about it in our last meeting, and it was like, we identified it.
Everything was moved, everything was, we couldn't touch his debris for his.
Yep. Sign lane, I seen it, I should have took a picture, I seen it 6:20. Look at your tape, I seen the car there. The sign was on the crosswalk, on the sidewalk,
Because the handicap sign was laying down in front of his vehicle.
but it was on the sidewalk, you said. And the reason I didn't move it is because I didn't know it was being investigated.
No one reported that, because there was a bunch of residents that went in that way that go check their mail every Saturday. Nobody said that they had to step on any signage.
But we had an employee, in my opinion, that looks like they reported to you
Well, they didn't report it to me. He
They
went
reported
to
to you.
Diane's house.
on Monday, on Sunday, you read about
Yeah, Diane called me because the
it. Right,
employee
so
went to her house.
right then and there, it should have been a police report. That happened fine, 2 days behind it.
Yeah, the police showed up on Sunday. I have the police report that was done on Sunday. He never called it in on Friday night.
Okay. So there was a police report we made. Can we see copies of the police report? Next meeting?
Did anybody respond on Sunday?
Yeah, Diane went there on Sunday.
And how did Diane find out about
The employee that saw it went to her house on his way home and told her.
it? Did she call the police?
And she called me.
And then you called the police?
She said she'd go over to the office. When she got there and she sent me all the pictures, I called them.
And you called the police on Sunday? And then again on Tuesday? Just Tuesday?
No, I didn't call them on Tuesday. They'd already been there on Sunday. They came in on Tuesday to get the video footage from the security.
Okay, also good. The project gets me, Melinda. When you send out an email, in your last paragraph, it says, I found out this afternoon that one tenant witnessed the whole thing but never called the police or even called the emergency number and answering service. And that person called Diane instead.
No, not that tenant. That tenant is the one that told me
Okay.
that on Tuesday afternoon, because she happened to be outside in the parking lot.
And it says, if that had happened, the police would have shown up or probably given him a breathalyzer test. I'm sure he was drunk as a skunk because he loves his alcohol. And another reason why he probably didn't report the accident. That's unprofessional. If we ever had to go to court, and somebody sees this document, we get laugh at. That'd be unprofessional. That'd be unprofessional. And I'll remember this on the next review, because it's not, I mean, that person could have happened. Not quickly, it could have been just whatever the reason was, that person had it. I mean, I think, job, the way we say it is, to call somebody in their family and say, listen, there might be a problem with so-and-so. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, meeting with the guardian or whatever, just like, if they have, must have a guardian. For us to accuse somebody of doing something so far off the lunch, it ain't even funny. Not even funny. But this was me, and I found out that something like this went out, that we, it'd be a problem. Anyway, that's my observation. Any other comments?
I agree with that.
Public safety, if something happens, then we have to want to respond on it, and make sure the other people are okay. Because there's other tenants there. And I got called by a person, and it was just pure looking at them, when I looked at it, we got out of aggravation, and that was. I think somebody on this board should have been called from you, and said, look, just so you know, something that went on. We call damage. Because sometimes they're called for stupid things. Anyway, I'm down in 70 pieces. No,
Don, just to clarify, I live right across the street from where that thing looked at. I walked over to get my mail Saturday morning. Got again, smashed up. Oh, there's all parts laying up. And I looked at the wall and I said, oh, what, there's a lot of damage here. Yeah. Somebody must know about it. Okay. At that time, maybe I should have reported, but I thought that by Saturday morning, with that link, somebody would have called. But I don't know, I just figured it was taken care of. And the person who really should have called was the person that reported it at the time that it happened. That person said they saw it or they heard about it or something. And they didn't do anything. Maybe they don't know how to report it to.
I thought it too.
No. I mean, if the lights go out in the buildings, I call 949941 and someone will answer the phone, they get to somebody and they'll get to Tom or Todd or somebody and they'll do something about it. Okay? Well, sometimes people don't react like that. Somebody says, oh, lights went out. Oh, okay. So they expect somebody else to fix it, but they won't say anything themselves. I think that's basically what the thing was. So a lot of us were at fault because everybody goes out there. And not to be shitty, but there's a lot of yappers in that compound.
And so,
A lot of yappers. And to say that nobody reported it is amazing.
Well,
It's absolutely amazing.
I understand what you're saying, but bottom line is whoever hit them should. They have an obligation to their driver's license.
And they were asked that by the police officer. And their response was, didn't know they had to.
so we need to train the people.
Well,
Yeah, we have to go about all over and say, here's a sign that's written right here. Anything, you see something, say it, there's another problem.
but he didn't have.
If
Yeah,
they're
he didn't know he
probably
had to-
scared, maybe
He
people
didn't know
scared
he had to
you.
report it to the police. That's what the police officer said. It was an accident. You're supposed to still call the police.
Exactly. And then the police department. What time did it happen on Friday?
4 p.m. And that was his response too, is no one was around for housing, but this tenant knows that we have answering service because I think it was 2 or 3 weeks prior, called because their smoke detector was being. So that they know that there's,
We used to offer that.
if a lot of them can't reach them, take them down and we take the battery out, they'll forget to tell us and then the battery doesn't get put back in. The other thing in here is just to finish up the year-end financials. There's other reports that have to get submitted to DHCD along with the financial statements and certification pages that the board signs that they've seen the statements.
Any other questions or comments on the director's report? If not, entertain a motion.
And my motion to accept the executive report.
Seconded.
Motion is second to accept the executive's report is printed. All in favor? All opposed? 4-0. 3-0. Next thing, we have the Tyngsborough Housing Vacancy Report.
So the first one is the one that is done, and I'm working on a list. The second one is the one that we pulled the tub out. The third one the guys are working on, and then the one that's on the next page, they've started doing a little bit of work in that one, but they're concentrating on the other one first.
Okay, any other questions on the vacancy report? Entertain a motion.
Motion to accept the vacancy report.
Seconded.
Voted on, second to accept the vacancy report. As written, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Maintenance report. I think you did speak about some of it earlier. Linda.
And some of it's doing a little bit of outside stuff to get started.
How much do we put aside for like spring cleaning? Like filling up that big ravine and stuff at the beginning of the driveway. How much do you plug and put aside to say, okay, we need to do leaving, probably to fill? Blacktop,
Built some good sized potholes here already.
you know, for some good ones.
He's working on, well, he's doing them when it's nice days too. So
Yeah. How much you put aside, do you feel would be a budget for down to a quarter now, quarter in the summer, quarter in the fall, quarter in the winter, with? How much do we normally spend in the spring?
usually it's just bark mulch and then grass seed and
And about like potholes and the hot top and all
depending on how many potholes we have. I mean, sometimes you don't have any.
that? Okay, any other questions on the maintenance report? No, entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept the maintenance report.
Seconded.
We have a motion to second to accept the maintenance report is written. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Finished business. Fiscal farm certifications.
Unfinished business is the budget.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna comment on that a little bit.
On the budget,
Fiscal year end report.
that's under new business.
But the next thing over here says finished business. And that's what I'm going
Finished
for.
business is that the budget, we approved it at the last meeting.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right. Okay, unfinished business.
Which we just, we voted on that.
One approved to move to 10th Avenue. And after that, we've got old business. CPC rep update. John is out right now. Affordable Housing Trust Committee update.
No, the next meeting is May 11th at 6 PM at Town Hall. So we haven't met since the last Housing Authority meeting. The one thing I did want to bring up though was Brian had mentioned to me after the meeting, we had talked about the money that was set aside from the CPC funds for Indian Lane, and we had talked about moving that possibly to the Affordable Housing Trust if, we're working on the Indian Lane project, but months ago, we had talked about earmarking that money for Coburn Road. And so it seemed like we had sort of forgotten that when we had talked about moving those funds for use by the Affordable Housing Trust.
Okay. So we have Coburn Road, we're waiting to, just waiting out to see if we're gonna go for home rule petition. And if we could use that money, it might, since we could use it for other places. Let's free it up and use it. Because there's a lot given it all right now.
So I'm gonna use it for Indian Lane.
Under his program. We released it.
What do you get? Yeah, exactly. CPC.
I mean, if they could spend it now and put people in the house, that's the thing to do.
Is that something that they're going to be looking to do?
I couldn't know at this point yet.
But then,
It might take a little.
but the deed hasn't been transferred to anyone. It's still under the state. So nobody can do it.
So we have to send a letter saying that
I think we already did, right?
we want to release, we want to, I'll get back in it, right, word.
Relinquish? Relinquish, is that what you're looking for?
Taking the money that we were going to use on Coburn Road. Not Coburn, yeah, Coburn Road. CPC money, because we had money from the state to do the study on it. Release it, make it available to a general fund in the CPC, and then if committee needs it, they could request it. I mean, rather than just keeping it and saying that,
Well, I think we can do that. Do the collaborative.
I mean, do they need to get something from us officially saying it's on hold right now, the property, we don't want to tap the money that could be used for
Did we
the
have
housing.
money in CPC for Coburn Road? I know we did for Indian Lane.
So,
So
no,
we,
yes, it was like 10 or 15 grand.
I'm not sure the amount, but I know that we said that we wanted to abandon the Indian Lane project. They haven't transferred the deed, and take that money, put it towards gold. That we talked about, and I believe we agreed to do that. So now shift gears again, give it back to CPC and say,
Right. Their general fund, and then they could probably just transfer it over to his.
his committee's gonna run into the same problem. He's at the state.
So-
And that's why we did that, because we couldn't get control of the
Like money, it's something wrong.
Right, exactly.
And they're gonna run into the same issue.
Yeah,
They're just
exactly.
not in a hurry.
So what do you suggest we do, Seth?
I mean, I'm okay with that too, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I'm saying, what do we- So we know, so we don't forget, we might have had it tied up. Do we just wait till they come to us and say, hey, you're gonna use this money, I want you? And wait for that.
I don't know, maybe it's a question for John. We would know how the funds are.
Okay, so
Why
why
they
they draw
appropriate the funds. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because if the funds are totally gonna be lost, but
Well, they have to spend so much on affordable housing, so I was only going to spend it on something. So whether it be through your committee or ours, whatever.
Right, so we need, John's on a committee. Yeah, we have to make him, oh, yes, we'll bring it up again the next meeting.
Is that going to be enough time for that?
yeah, I mean, I don't think anything's really gonna change from our perspective. But it's me with before the last.
The state could even move within 40 miles of Boston to Tyngsborough, they're saying. We might sign it, and so that's, I know that it's unfortunate, but it's an election year, and everybody's gonna be doing this. And it's probably just in some of these stuff. There's a lot of people out there, I'm out of there, I'm out of there. Fortunately, that's, people are waiting to put people in houses. Try to eliminate almost. Waiting in line. Indian Lane is nothing, they jumped ahead, but 689 Colton, same thing.
Do we still want to keep putting Indian Lane on our agenda? I mean, it's not really pursuing.
What was the latest letter from Peter McCoy on Indian Lane?
It was just an email that was sent to that attorney letting her know that was back when we said that we were going to hold off until like our December
We
meeting.
have him send, or an attorney send the state a letter saying, Tyngsborough Housing Authority has no interest in it. Then we can take it up to the agenda.
Well, I think we already did that.
Oh, it's through an email.
Yeah.
No, it has to be official.
Well, the last email Peter sent to her was telling her that we needed the documents because the board was going to make a decision at their December meeting whether they were going to pursue forward or not, because she hasn't complied and we never have
Right,
documents.
so should we take her off the agenda? Should we take her off our sheet? Take Indian Lane right off, document.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Either way. If we leave it on, we're not going to discuss. Move on to the next up. You can do either or.
I'm just asking because it's been on there and we're not pursuing.
Well, I wouldn't leave it on for another month or two, until we talk. Because maybe. So we'll just wait till we talk to John.
No, we'll just keep it the next meeting, we'll let John do it. Okay, so any other questions on old business? I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept. All business, it's scrapped.
All right, so a motion is second to accept all business as printed. And through discussion, all in favor? All opposed? 4-0. Next thing, we have new business. Review top 5 salaries from tenant account receivable form as of 3/31/2022, certification compliance with notification to proceed for lead paint and sign 2 certificate form to be submitted to the SCD. And I don't believe we have any lead paint.
No, but they still require us to fill out this form every year.
Okay, well, so what, we have to do it right now?
We can sign them at the end if you want.
Okay, so we'll go back to number 12, new business. Other business, do we have any other business? I'd like to speak about the next meeting, or anything that happened. Give me a word of now.
What about the next meeting?
Is there any new business? that Anybody wants to bring up?
Oh, I thought you said the next meeting.
No. Okay, now, next board meeting. And then print enough.
Wednesday, May 25th.
Mr. Chairman, but back in the business, we did talk about it, oh, those. Stanford. I didn't know what that was, but I'm good.
Yeah, we reviewed it, and then I think I put the copies of the forms in there that you're gonna be signing, but I have the originals for you to sign, I just put them so you could review.
Okay. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn at 6:58.
6:39. I think that clock's wrong.
Next meeting is the
May 23rd, yes.
I'll second that motion to
Adjourn,
adjourn.
second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We should adjourn.